Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, welcome. My name is Sarah and I post weekly what's for dinners, random grocery hauls, and recipes in between. I will always link the recipes down below or just a short description if I don't have a link. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. First, I'm going to make a Frito pie. I had this like taco turkey sausage in my freezer and I wanted to use it up, so that's what I decided to use in it, and it already had like taco seasonings in the meat, so it was really good. First, going to brown that up, and then you're going to put 20 ounces of tomato sauce and 2 cans of chili beans. I had like 5 ounces of tomato sauce that I had put in the freezer, so I went ahead and used that up, but just mix it up and let it sit. And while that was sitting up for a couple minutes, I went ahead and put my Frito chips at the bottom. I had like 8 bags, I think, from one of those big boxes you get like from Sam's, and the Fritos are always left. So that's pretty much where I came up with this recipe, or not came up with the recipe, but the idea, because I wanted to use those chips up before they went stale. So then you are going to pour your mixture over like, I don't know, it's like 4 cups of Frito chips is what the recipe calls for. So go by that. 2 cups on the bottom, put your mixture on top, and then 2 cups of Frito chips over the bean and meat mixture. And then you are going to cover it with whatever cheese you want. Cover it with aluminum foil and then bake it in a 350 oven for about 25 minutes. This turned out amazing. I haven't made it in years, definitely years. I was trying to think about how long it had been anyway, and I was reminded about how delicious it is. It's definitely not healthy at all, but it is really good. And this night I decided to make my own Tostada Shells for the first time. I had never done it, and I can't get over how easy it was. I don't know what I thought that entailed, but it was really easy. And I had a bunch of corn tortillas to use up. Anyway, you're going to preheat your oven to 400 degrees. Place however many you can put on your pan and spray them with a little bit of oil. And I just put 1 layer of kosher salt on there. And I flipped it. I did it on the first layer, so that way when I flipped it for the last time, like, the salt would be on the top. But anyways, you're going to put these into your oven, 400 degrees, like I said, for 10 minutes, and halfway through, you're going to flip them. And this is what they're going to look like afterwards. I think I made like 20 something of them. So obviously this is more than was on my original pan because they shrink up a little bit and you can fit more. Anyways, you're going to top them with refried beans. You can put beef, whatever you want. These are just refried beans that I make in the Instant Pot, and I will have that video linked down below how I do that. It is so quick and so easy, and we love them. But anyway, you're going to top all your Tostada Shells with your beans and then put, like I said, whatever you want. We just chose cheese, and my husband and I like jalapenos, so I put that on ours as well. And then you're just going to put them in your oven until the cheese is melted. And I completely forgot to get a little video of it afterwards, so I'm just going to throw in a little clip of a picture I took. But we also topped it with taco sauce that we love from Trader Joe's, and a little bit of sour cream on the side. And then the next night, I had reserved some of the beans before I made them into refried beans, and decided we were going to have beans and rice and cornbread muffins. Anyway, you're going to start by just mixing together your flour, cornmeal, baking soda, baking powder, and salt and sugar. And then for your wet ingredients, you're going to mix together your buttermilk, egg, and oil. And I will have the exact measurements and the link to this down below. Honestly, I thought this recipe was really dry. I don't know if there's something I could have done. Maybe added more liquid. But we weren't a huge fan of this recipe. Just FYI, I've made better cornbread than this. I just was trying to find one that was more catered to muffins, because that's not usually what I make, and this is what I found. Anyway, I'm going to split it in half too, because my husband and I wanted jalapeno cheddar. The kids just wanted regular. So I'm just going to put a little bit of cheese in that and just put some jalapeno peppers on the top. You'll have to let me know in the comments whether you like your cornbreads more sweet or savory. I know my kids like it more sweet. Actually, I'm pretty sure my husband does too, but I'm more of a savory cornbread fan. Honestly, hot water cornbread, fried cornbread, whatever I think my dad called it growing up, is my absolute favorite. I need to do that. Speaking of, I haven't made that in a long time. And now while my cornbread is baking and I've just got the beans warming up on the stove, I'm going to make my rice in my Instant Pot. I just put in 4 cups of water, a little bit of salt, a little bit of olive oil, and 2 cups of rice. And I'm going to cook it on high pressure for 5 minutes and then let it naturally release for 10, and it comes out perfect every time. Who else puts cheese on their beans? Let me know down below. And now I'm going to start this night by prepping our artisan bread that we absolutely love. You're going to start with your water, sugar, and yeast mixture and put in 2 cups of bread flour. You're going to mix it up really well, and you can just let it sit for an hour and it'll be just fine. But that day I let it sit for, I think, 4 hours. I got antsy and was ready to start cooking and started this pretty early. But anyway, of course, I'll have the recipe with the exact sugar and all that recipe or ingredients down below. Anyways, mix it up really well, cover it up with cellophane, let it sit for as long as you want, at least an hour, but as long as you want. And then when it is ready, you're going to just a flour surface. You're going to take it out of the bowl and just kind of fold it over onto itself about 10 times until you form a ball. And don't do like I did. You need to put your parchment paper in that bowl first and then put the bread on top of it, because you're going to create kind of like a basket to put it on or into your oven. Because at this moment right here, I have my oven preheated to 450 and I have a cast iron Dutch oven in there getting hot. So you're going to use the parchment paper to kind of carry your bread and put it into your hot pot. And then you're going to let it cook for 30 minutes. Yeah, 30 minutes. And then take the lid off. Of course, you can use a Dutch oven too. But anyway, you're going to take the lid off and let it cook and kind of crisp up for 15 more minutes. And it is ready. And while that was baking, I am prepping our garlic parmesan chicken that we had that night. And it was so good. But 2 of these chicken breasts are going to be for the next night's dinner. You'll see me cut them up into strips as well and put them in a baggie in the fridge. But for the chicken that I'm making tonight, I'm just cutting up 2 breasts in half, and that was plenty. Once I learned the trick or saw someone cutting chicken breasts in half instead of trying to cook it like with a whole or smashed down, That was the best tip ever. I don't know why I had never even thought about that, but half the time chicken breasts are huge and the average person doesn't need all that. Like in half is the perfect amount. And now I'm going to start with the mixture that's going to go on top of the chicken. You're going to start with 8 ounces of cream cheese, about a teaspoon or so of salt, a teaspoon of pepper, half a cup of sour cream, maybe like a tablespoon of garlic, something like that, a half a cup of mozzarella cheese, a half a cup of Parmesan cheese, and you're going to also reserve half a cup of Parmesan as well to top it, but mix that up really well. And you are just going to smear it on top of the chicken breast that you just cut up and put in your pan. Gonna top that with Parmesan cheese and throw that in the oven at 350. The recipe said 25 minutes, but it took closer to 40 for me. So all ovens are different. Just make sure your chicken is 165, but it turned out awesome. Like the whole family loved this. And I served it with the bread, of course, and a side of broccoli. And these were the best chicken tenders we have personally ever had. I've never used a recipe that called for cornstarch, so that's probably why it was so crispy. And just pro tip, do that. Use cornstarch when you're frying if you don't already, because I'm late to the game. Anyway, you're going to mix together 1 egg, a can of cream of chicken soup, and some seasoned salt that you're going to dredge the chicken tenders in first. And your flour mixture is 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of cornstarch, and about a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of garlic powder, and a teaspoon of paprika. And you're going to put them in one at a time, as you can see, and get them really coated. And you're going to want them to kind of sit up for a few minutes before you start frying them. Just make sure they're kind of doughy. Like it's going to look like you don't have much, like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, like flour once it starts getting like that. But they turned out great, as you'll see. And it really was, once the oil heated up, this recipe said it would take 7 minutes, and it was exactly 7 minutes. So 7 minutes, don't overcrowd your pan. I put 3 in at a time. And if your counter doesn't look a hot mess when you were working with frying chicken or anything, and then you were absolutely not doing it right, because it literally happens. I am so messy with anything that involves flour, like so messy. I just constantly create mess for myself. I don't know. And like I said, this week's meals cost under $30 total. And I didn't count the spices or oil or flour, just ingredients. But they were all under $30, and so I was really excited about that. I'm trying to stretch everything and use up what we have and try not to waste anything. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all next week.